Hi, I'm Ken Deese, CMO here at 42Chat, and welcome to 42ChatCast. I'm thrilled to welcome Cory Smith, Vice President of Strategic Services at Shepard, to the Chatcast. Thanks for joining us, Cory.
Hey, I'm really glad to be here, Ken. Thanks for having me.
Let's start first with, why don't you describe Shepard a little bit, how they're positioned and what value they convey to clients, and then talk a little bit about your role at the company so we can give people context for the conversation that follows.
Sure. Well, Shepard Exposition Services is a full-service event production company. We've been in business since 1905. We produce annually about 1,500 events. Most of those at this point are trade shows. We work with a number of corporate clients. My role with the company is to help manage our live experience design team. So it's our strategy and design group. We work closely with our clients to get an understanding of audience needs and event needs, and try to help design more memorable experiences for our clients. That seems to be, I think, very important for most event producers today.
So is part of your role, and this is a conversation you and I have had a little bit, given how important event technology is to the experience now, is part of your role to help Shepard sort of identify technologies that can help its clients deliver that better event experience, and then sort of introduce them and educate clients to those? Is that sort of part of the gig?
Yeah, that's a really big part of my role. And we approach it slightly different, in a slightly different way. With my role living within strategy and design, we try to be a lot more thoughtful in the solutions that we're recommending for clients. It's a vast, as you know, event technology is it's a vast landscape. I think there are over 700 or 800 companies that are providing a variety of different technology solutions. Having been an event organizer for over 25 years, it's overwhelming, to try to figure out what technologies or what solutions are important to improving the experience of attendees and exhibitors at events. So we use event technology as a tool that comes from a strategic process that we go through. We call it our 5Ds, and it starts with discovery. And the whole goal is to make sure that that we're working with our clients so that they have very clear goals and objectives. And then technology is recommended based on whatever that goal or objective is. We want to make sure that they have a good plan to introduce it and implement it successfully. It starts with creating an awareness for attendees. Sometimes, as an organizer, we invest in technologies and we don't see very good adoption, and we give it up after a year. So we try to help plan, communicate, and make sure that they're selecting and implementing the tools successfully.
So when you're out talking to clients about sort of the range of event tech, are they mostly overwhelmed? Are there certain areas of event technology they seem to be more interested in than others? Are you finding them quick to adopt, slow to adopt? What are you generally finding as you start to talk with people out there as much as you do? What are the areas that is there a lot of FOMO, right? There's, what are other people doing that I'm not doing? What's the general conversation like out in the market?
I think, most organizers, and I was one of these organizers, you see something new. Everybody's looking for what's new and fresh and different in the marketplace. And I was quick to be a first adopter and to try things. And, there are a lot of solutions that, unfortunately, for a variety of reasons, aren't always easy for attendees to adopt. I think you have to make it easy for them to see the value in the technologies that you're representing. I also see organizers responding based on failed attempts with some technologies, or they want to have 100% engagement with their audience with the suite of tools that they're offering. So I'm seeing a lot of omni-channel type approaches where you may have an event app, an event bot, you're still printing guides, you're producing signs, you have human directionals to help with wayfinding. So I see just solutions being added on, and that creates a different set of problems that
Right.
we've tried to address through some of the planning that we do. But for the most part, I think most organizers, they hear about a technology, and they want to be a first adopter, and we don't always think through the steps that are going to be necessary to implement that successfully.
So Shepard being an important partner of ours, how did you come to sort of be introduced to the idea of AI chatbots? What sort of struck you initially about them that you sort of found interesting? How did that sort of come about?
Well, I would say that it started before I joined Shepard. I was managing a group that had media assets in the e-commerce and retail sector, and chatbots were a hot and trending technology that a lot of the e-commerce companies that we worked with were beginning to try and implement successfully. So I had a working knowledge of what a chatbot could do to extend the service to customers, and to extend position a technology as part of your team to provide a better customer experience. So I had a working knowledge coming in, and then I think I first met your team at MPI.
Okay.
And, it was the ease of use. Everybody's got a mobile device in their hands, and
right.
I've personally had challenges with getting high levels of adoption with event apps, and it got more complicated. As Apple made it, more cumbersome to download, an app by putting most in containers. I started looking for other solutions that were easy to adopt and would allow you to unleash information that people need to personalize their experiences. And chatbots just seems like a natural solution to do that. And I tested it at the MPI event, really liked it, invited you guys to come to our customer event. We do an annual customer event where we highlight new technologies and new trends in the marketplace.
That's your sandbox, right?
That's our sandbox event, yeah. And it was a big hit. We introduced it. Sandy was what we named our chatbot. And I just love the fact that we had limited staff there. Help. When I say limited staff, people get spread out at that type of event.
Yep.
We had a lot of offsite activities, and it was just I think a great help to be able to extend our team through a 24/7 solution like the chatbot.
Is that the benefit? As you've implemented more chatbots now, is that sort of the benefit you see both for Shepard and for clients, that sort of staff multiplier, that sort of being able to better respond more consistently to inquiries, whether that's from exhibitors or attendees? Now that you've implemented a bunch of them, what are you finding are benefits both to Shepard and then to Shepard's clients?
Well, that's I think a tough question, because there's so many different areas we could get into. Number one, I think the ability to unleash and personalize information that with events is difficult to get to. We launched, as you know, an exhibitor bot.
Yep.
And one of the biggest pain points I think with all events is the exhibitor kit. It's just not a great experience for exhibitors. They get
a Russian novel.
They get a Russian novel.
To sort through it.
Pages, and it's loaded with order forms or rules and regulations and schedules, and it used to come in a big 3-ring binder, and it's just painful. And we successfully launched an exhibitor bot, and the response internally for our service team, and I think for the clients, was tremendous. With just a couple of words in a text, you can get move-in information. I mean, it was all personalized, and you could take large amounts of data and cut it into small bites, which I think that was a great value to our customers. I think also some of the enhanced features that you guys are adding, connections, networking, and making connections, meaningful connections at events. We hear that is one of the most important things driving a lot of our clients' events, and I don't see that ever changing. So the ability to create now profiles of attendees, and to begin to make those one-to-one connections, I think is a tremendous add-on to the service. And then that multiplier, that's very important. I mentioned, most organizers have, they have their guides. That's still a lot of information, wrapped in a paper wrap. Signs, it's difficult to get the specific information at the time and point where you need it through signs. So you've got all these different navigation tools, but I think the one that allows you to access at any point 24/7 and at any location is the chatbot. I think it's the easiest to use. So we see it as and then of course events bring in in a lot of cases thousands of people, and you need to be able to communicate with them if there's an emergency, or you need to push a notification out regarding a change in schedule. Having that tool that gets a high level of engagement available to your team to utilize is, I think, a critical part of any event production at this point.
Well, I want to thank you so much for your time, Cory. We've been chatting with Cory Smith, Vice President of Strategic Services at Shepard. Want to thank you for joining us, and hope you can join us again, everyone, on our next 42 ChatCast.